Hi guys, welcome to Adaya. I'm Michael James Wong. Well, today we've got Boys Club. Now, a lot of times when we kind of put ourselves down onto the mat or even start talking about the practice, it's sometimes a bit distracting when we kind of look at the bigger picture. And a lot of times for guys, we just need to approach the practice in a way to just explore what it feels like, to just move around the mat a bit, put stuff in place, and maybe just explore the body a bit more. Now, you're going to start today in a nice seated cross-legged position. We're going to work today through Power Hour 1. So just 1 hour to work through, lots of different places around the mat. And then maybe at the end, we'll just have a chat and see where we got to. We're just going to explore, we're going to discover a bit, have a bit of fun, but actually look at how we can kind of move ourselves in a place a bit real, a bit more authentically to ourselves, and actually just move in a way that starts to feel a bit more, not overanalyze what it actually means to do yoga. Just practice in a way where you can move and breathe, and that's it. So like anything with any practice today, and especially for guys, take an opportunity to sit down, be still, and just take a few moments just to close your eyes and settle in. Even sitting still just for 1, 2, 3 minutes a day before we start to move, sometimes for a lot of guys is the hardest thing. To let the hips open, to let the body be still, to not do something actively. That's one of the benefits of the practice, is you get the whole thing, the whole package. Yes, we have got the strong stuff and the sweaty stuff, but taking a moment at the very beginning to let everything just mellow out, still out, before we get the body moving. So just taking a few more breaths and start to notice how the breath moves in and out of your space. So deep inhales through the nose and long exhales out. And then as you can see, we've got all the boys here today. We've got a room to ourselves. We've got a bit of a practice where we can just see what it feels like to move. Breathe a little. And just discover what it means to find your own sense of yoga. So take one more full breath in. And a long breath out. And when you're ready, just rolling forward onto your hands, just start to walk yourself back to a downward facing dog. So today's Power Hour, a nice long 1 hour of power, nice and strong. We're going to move through the breath and the body. But when you hit your first downward facing dog, set yourself in to get yourself onto the floor. A lot of times when you hit the mat for the first time, you start to overanalyze what I should be doing, where it should be going. We're simply going to practice and move. We're not even actually going to go through too much of the detailed alignment because naturally those things will fall into place after you be okay with the fact that you're here, you're moving, you're breathing, and that's it. But very simply, where you are onto the floor in your nice, strong, downward-facing dog, connect the hands and the feet down to the earth. Notice what it feels like to flatten all 10 fingers down to the earth. Press down through the thumb and the first finger to that trifecta of the hand. Beautiful. Feel the shoulders draw up towards the hips. Let the heart soften back towards the toes. And even take a slight soft bend through the knees and roll the hips up high towards the sky. Draw your belly up towards your spine. Take a full breath in. A long breath out. And then bend your knees, look forward. Walk yourself to the top of the mat. Put your feet hip-width distance apart and just hang forward. Cross your elbows. And maybe start to sway a bit left to right. Notice what it feels like for the feet to ground into the earth. Notice what it feels like for everything to start to work its way up the body, through the thighs, through the calves. And notice the feelings through the physical space. And again, it doesn't matter if you're new to the practice or you practice every single day. Today we practice here and now, and we just move and flow. Release your hands to the floor. Good. Close the eyes. Unroll yourself back up to standing. And as you reach to standing, sweep your hands high towards the sky. Take a full breath in. Bring your hands down through your center space and bring them to your sides with the palms facing forward, fingers pointing down to the earth. Before we move, the most important thing is to connect and lock in of where you are. Where are the feet grounding down? Feel the feet flatten to the floor. Feel the shins draw in. Feel the inner thighs roll in and back. Tuck your tailbone under, draw your belly in. Now draw your shoulders up to your ears, take them to the back of the room, and then down over the scapulas. It doesn't really matter how big or how small you are. It's just about noticing what it feels like when things start to move in a conscious direction intentionally. Close the eyes. Let the breath into the body. So now as we move, everything is conscious, active, and intentional. That's it. So take a full breath in. Long breath out. Enjoy the practice, boys. Open your eyes. Inhale, sweep your hands high towards the sky. Take a full breath in, and then bow forward as you exhale. Come all the way down to the earth. Halfway lift, inhale, lengthen your spine, long and forward. Hands flat, walk yourself back to a high plank position. Good, and you'll notice over here, and Adam's here, and he's really good, kind of aligned up. You're gonna notice the shoulders over your wrist joints. You're gonna see the belly drawn in. You're gonna see the heels pressing back towards the back wall. Take a full breath in, keeping the elbows in, lower to a low plank position, keeping the elbows narrow in, keeping your chest only as parallel to the biceps and a right angle through the elbows, so don't go too low. Good, release yourself to the floor. Take a cobra through the spine. So keep the feet and the thighs down, lift your chest up off the mat, and then tuck your toes under, downward facing dog, send your hips back. Now that alignment's into the body. Good, let's feel that again. High plank position, inhale to the top of the mat. Lower to a low plank position, hover and hold. Up dog the chest, flatten the feet. Now, open up the chest, press through the hand, roll the ribs up and the heart high, lift the thighs and the knees up off the floor. Good, tuck your toes, downward facing dog. We move, we flow, we activate the body, we're now aligned. All that's left to do is connect the breath to the body. Take a full breath in, a long breath out. Bend your knees, look forward, jump, step, or float, top of the mat. Halfway lift, bow forward as you exhale. Rise to standing, press down through the feet, inhale your hands, and then bow forward as you exhale, come all the way down to the earth. Good, inhale, halfway lift. Hands flat, jump, step, float, fly, back of the mat as you move through, high to low plank. Good, inhale, upward facing dog, open the heart, exhale, take it back, downward facing dog. Beautiful, high plank position, inhale, low plank position as you hover and hold. Start the breath to move, inhale, upward facing dog, peel the chest open, good, Alex, downward facing dog, send the hips back. Good, high plank position, inhale, low plank, inhale, upward facing dog, press through the hands, roll the shoulders back, make space, downward facing dog, send it back. Beautiful, high plank position, inhale. Low plank, hover and hold. Good, inhale, up dog. Send it back, downward facing dog. Start to link that breath authentically to the movements. High plank position, inhale. Low plank, hover and hold. Good, inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, take it back. Can you feel the connection now as the breath of the movement? Inhale, lead with the heart, high plank position, low plank, hover and hold. Now for guys, this is quite often easy. Inhale, upward facing dog, because a push-up is a thing that naturally clicks into the body, downward facing dog. High plank position. Now can you move through in a way that's a bit more conscious and notice where your elbows are? Low plank position, move your breath as you float through. Upward facing dog, press down through the hand, lift the knees, the thighs. Downward facing dog, hips towards the sky. 3 more times in your own breath pattern. Inhale, top of the mat. Good, move and flow through. And again, some of these things are natural movements of the body that is, as you know, as kids, it's normal. It's a fundamental thing that we learn and we grow through sports, through activities. But now when you put it into a yoga space and you connect it to your breath, now it becomes conscious and intentional and the breath guides you through. Good, moving through that last 1 or 2 more cycles, high to low planks. Let's hear the breath breathing in and out. And when you send it back to that downward facing dog the last time, float back to a high plank position 1 more time. As you hover in the high plank position, lower to a low plank position. Hold here for a moment. Make sure the hips and the knees don't hit the floor. Press back up to a high plank position. Inhale, downward facing dog, hips towards the sky. Full breath in, long breath out. Right foot to the warrior 1. Let's get off the hands, float the hands towards the sky, set the feet, align. Good, as your hands float up high towards the sky. Flatten that back left foot, please. Good, bring this foot down. Beautiful. Ground down through the outside edge of that left foot. Feel the left hip draw forward. Feel that front right knee lunge deep over the ankle. Take a full breath in, and then release your hands to the floor, step back, high to low plank. Use the breath to flow and float through. So intentionally, inhale, open the chest up. Exhale, take it back, downward facing dog, left foot to warrior 1. Notice your alignment as you step up. Good, you're here in this space. It's not just about the big stuff that waves out and up there. Actually, what happens to your feet, what happens to your hips? Draw that right hip forward, draw that left hip back. Keep the belly locked in, draw the shoulder blades down the back. Take a full breath in, and then release, hit the floor, step left foot back, high to low plank. Inhale, upward facing dog. Send it back, downward facing dog. Beautiful. Right foot, warrior 1. 1 more time. Let's get it back into the body before we start to flow. Inhale the hands. Move to warrior 2 as you exhale and open. Good, now set it up here. And what you notice as you open to a warrior 2, the hips go from closed to open. So you feel the shoulder blades draw together. You still have a nice deep lunge through that front right knee. The alignment is key, but they're cues. Flip that front palm, reverse the warrior. Inhale, reach towards the back wall. Inhale, reverse the warrior, let the left hand slide down the shin. And then release to the floor, high to low plank. Good, we set the body through the sequence before we start to flow. Elbows in, high to low plank. Inhale, press through the hands, shoulders back. Exhale, take it back, downward facing dog. Remember, it doesn't matter how big or how small you are. Left foot, warrior one. What matters is you move consciously, move intentionally, and you feel that. Warrior two as you open. In the practice of yoga, if you don't breathe, doesn't count. Flip the palm, reverse the warrior. Good. Sorry, bud. Feel the left rib cage peel itself open. Keep that lunge and activation through the front left knee, thigh, shin engaged. Pressing down through the outside edge of that back right foot. Take a full breath in, and then exhale, release, hit the floor, step back, high to low plank. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, take it back, downward facing dog. Full breath in, long breath out. Bend your knees, look forward, jump, step, or float, top of the mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Bow forward as you exhale. Chair pose, Utkatasana. So this chair pose, we're going to start to break it down a bit. Now, what you're going to feel when you hit a chair pose, you're going to start to ask yourself where the weight shifts into. So what you want to feel, Alex is going to help us out here. You're going to feel the weight shift into your heels. So really ground through the heels. Feel the inner thighs roll in and down. Tuck the tailbone, sink the hips down a bit deeper. Go a bit deeper. You got this. Good. Draw the shoulders down the back. Feel the pinkies roll inward. Open up the shoulder girdle. Don't hunch through the shoulders. Sink the hips a bit deeper. Draw the belly in. Stay and breathe. Full breath in. Bow forward as you exhale. Halfway lift. Inhale, lengthen. Hands flat, jump, step, or float. High to low plank. Good. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, take it back, downward facing dog. Let all that stuff internalize. So your brain goes, if it's new, it's new. If it's not new, reassess. So wherever you are and however you feel or whatever you think about the practice, reset your ideas, reset your body, reset your breath. So now as we start to flow, you just let it happen. You breathe, you move, you flow, that's it. So wherever you are, however you feel, take a full breath in, a long breath out. Bend your knees, look forward, jump, step, or flow, top of the mat. Let's go. Inhale, halfway lift. Bow forward as you exhale. Rise to standing. Inhale, reach high towards the sky. Breathe in as you extend, and then bow forward as you exhale. Come all the way down to the earth. Halfway lift. Inhale, lengthen. Hands flat. Jump, step, or float high to low plank. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, send it back, downward facing dog. Right foot to warrior one. We flow straight through. Inhale, you rise. Reach and extend. Warrior two as you exhale and open. Don't cheat yourself. Open it up. Reverse the warrior. Flip the palm. Send it back. Breathe in. Exhale, hit the floor high to low plank as you step back. Move open all the way. Upward facing dog. Send it back, downward facing dog. Left foot, warrior one. Breathe. Inhale. Hands float high towards the sky. Warrior two as you exhale and open. Flip the palm, reverse, inhale, open it up, reach it back, feel it in here, and then release to the earth, high to low plank. Inhale, upward facing dog. Send it back, downward facing dog. Right foot, warrior one. Flow through. One more time. Inhale, rise. Exhale, warrior two. Open it up. Good. Move the space. Flip the palm. Inhale, reach. Open up through the right ribs, and then release to the floor, high to low plank. Move light, but move through. Open the chest, up dog. Send it back, downward facing dog, left foot, warrior one. Big step up, plant the feet, reach the fingers, warrior two, exhale and open it up. Good, boys. Flip the palm, reverse. Inhale, reach and extend, and release to the earth, high to low plank. Good. Keep those elbows in. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog, right foot again, warrior one. Inhale, reach towards the sky. Warrior two as you exhale and open. Flip the palm, reverse the warrior, reach, extend, and release to the earth, high to low plank. Good. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, take it back, downward facing dog, left foot, warrior one. Inhale, rise, reach and extend. Warrior two, exhale and open, move everything. Flip the palm, reverse, inhale, and release to the earth, high to low plank. Good. Let's flow. Inhale, breathe, upward facing dog. Send it back, downward facing dog. Stay here, take a full breath in. A long breath out. Bend your knees, look forward, jump, step, or float, top of the mat. Inhale, halfway. Bow forward as you exhale. Chair pose, Utkatasana. Bend the knees, sink the hips. One breath in, and then bow forward as you exhale. Good. Chair pose, Utkatasana. Come on back up. Hang out. Take a seat. Sink your hips a bit deeper. Good. Draw the shoulders down the back. Draw the belly in. Shift the weight into your heels. Sink your hips a bit deeper. Breathe. Sink your hips a bit deeper. The longer you breathe, extend the breath out. Use the breath to give you stability. Use the breath to give you space. Use the breath to take the ugly off your face. Good. Sink your hips a bit deeper. Full breath in. Exhale, bow forward. Good chair pose. Come on back up. Bend your knees, sink your hips. Bringing the weight into the balls of your feet. Lift your heels as high as they go. Good. Now, it doesn't matter where your knees fall, wider or narrower. Again, there's obviously something going on down there, so make space. Good. Sink your hips down. Sink your hips until they just graze the top of your heels. So lift your heels a bit higher. Sink your bum a bit lower. Keep your spine nice and straight. Take a full breath in. Boat pose. Put your butt down. Lift your heels up. Isolate the spine and the thighs. Lead from the heart. So press your heart space forward. Send the fingertips long and forward. Breathe more. Keep your chin down so the back of your neck is nice and long. Take a full breath in and a long breath out. Deep inhale. Low boat. Open it up. Hover. Extend. Keep the core engaged. Inhale. High boat. Cross your legs. Hands in front of you. Step back high to low plank. Whew. Good. Let's go. Inhale. Upward facing dog. Send it back. Downward facing dog. Breathe. Full breath in, long breath out, high plank position, please. Inhale, top of the mat. Feet together, boys. Send the right heel towards the back of the room. Good, it doesn't have to be that serious just because it's a yoga practice. Send your right heel back, send your left hand forward. Right heel back, left hand forward. Good, keep the core engaged. So the belly's drawing up, hips are down, so drop your hips a bit lower, Dave. Good, keep the shoulder blades engaged. Beautiful. Make sure you're in a nice long plank. Albert, drop your hips a bit deeper, please. Beautiful. Take a full breath in. Hand and foot, downward facing dog. Send it back. High plank position. Inhale, top of the mat. Other side, left foot, right hand. Keep your chin tucked. Keep the back of the neck long. Keep the tongue pressed to the roof of your mouth. Engage your throat so you've got support. Breathe. Good. Nice stability. Keep lightness. Take a full breath in. Downward facing dog. Send it back. Well done. Beautiful. High plank position. Come on back up. Right foot again, left hand. Right foot back, left hand forward. Once you hit that spot where it feels balanced, now take your right heel out to the right diagonal, your left hand out to the left diagonal. If it gets wobbly, that's good. That means now you actually have to pay attention. Guys naturally have a good state of upper body strength a lot of times. So actually now putting yourself in a bit of a state of unknown, you actually need to activate things and pay attention to shit. Good. Hand and foot down, downward facing dog. Remember, you can always take rest. You can always take it back. I'm just a guy telling you to do some shit. You need to figure out what works for you. Practice in a way that makes you feel good. High plank position, come on back up. Left foot, right hand, hit the spot, isolate, come out at the angles. Now, what's going to feel really good, and what you're going to notice, is that if it gets a bit strong, take it out to the diagonals. All you do is just drop this right knee down to the floor. So John, bring this right knee down. Great. Now what happens when you take left foot back, right hand forward, out to the diagonals? Shit clicks into place a bit more. Notice what you need to do to activate things, to be more authentic, to support yourself, so you can do stuff and make yourself functionally more mobile. Downward facing dog, set it down, send it back. Full breath in, long breath out. Deep inhale, long exhale. Feet together, please. Right foot high towards the sky. Take a full breath in. Bring your knee to your nose. Squeeze the belly in, round through the upper rib cage. Hold here for a moment and feel now the engagement. So what you're going to see is Dave's really good here. The belly squeezed in. The knee is drawing up towards the nose. Everything activates. He's pressing down through the hands, making space, lifting through the knees. Take a full breath in. Send your heel back up high towards the sky. You'd bring your knee to your left elbow. Take it across the body. Now what you have to feel is the engagement and a twist. Keep the knee above the elbow. Good, keep the toe flexed. Breathe, take a full breath in. Bring your knee to your right elbow across the body. Bring your knee back to your left elbow. And take it back to the right elbow. Squeeze, hover, and hold. Engage, but breathe. Send your right heel back up high towards the sky. Put it back onto the floor. Whew. This yoga thing. Whew. Left foot high towards the sky. Big breath in. Knee to your nose. Squeeze, hover, engage. Now notice the difference when actually the physical alignment now starts to make sense. The hands ground down, make space through the back body, keep the core engaged, send the knee to the nose, take a full breath in, Send the heel back up high towards the sky. Beautiful. Send the knee to your left elbow when you're ready. Take it to the right elbow. Now keep the core engaged, keep it above the elbow, take it to the left elbow or tricep. Send it back up high towards the sky. Downward facing dog, put the foot down. High plank position, inhale, top of the mat. Take a full breath in, low plank position. Inhale, high plank position, downward facing dog. The best thing to do, if you modify the knees so you keep the integrity of your spine. But naturally, because we're guys, we say, nah, I'm good. High plank position. Explore it. Maybe the knees are better and more authentic for you. Lower to a low plank position. Hover and hold. Keep the integrity in the spine. So just like March here, the belly's drawn up, heels are pressing back. Yes, if things get shaky, but if you breathe more, it feels nice to maybe move slightly and a pulse in a different way, but maybe only to explore where a different place of stillness or comfort can be. High plank position, inhale yourself back up, downward facing dog, send it back. Well done. Inhale, high plank position. Come down to a forearm plank. Coming down to your forearms, body's at plank, you can always drop your knees down, let your eyes land between your thumbs, close the eyes. Keep your elbows only as wide as your shoulder blades still. So what you see, a lot of times you've got big shoulders like Alex, the elbows are gonna come out nice and wide. So bring these in. Good, bring your chest forward. Close the eyes, drop the head. Just hang out, breathe. So a lot of times with guys, we, again, strong through the chest, strong through the arms. So what happens now when we start to use that, we start to use it a lot in a power hour, you need now to make a conscious decision when you need to find your own sense of compassion. This shit ain't easy today. So you need to figure out when's the right time to drop your knees, when's the right time to take a rest, when's the right time to stay where you are, because the power is for you to choose when it feels right, when it feels like you need a bit more space. Breathe, keep the core engaged. Make sure things are doing things to feel the engagement. If you're just hanging out, all that's gonna do is make things heavier for you. If you keep the core engaged, if you keep the heels pressing back. And my dad used to say, when we kind of used to train around, we trained his kids, he said, there's no need to be a hero. Yeah. It's like, what happens when you're a hero is all you do is you get the weight of the world on your shoulders and you feel like you need to perform. He used to say, you may as well just be a man and do what works for you. Come back up to a high plank position, downward facing dog. Breathe. We've been on our hands for quite a long part of the sequence. We're going to move past it pretty soon, but breathe. Notice what now, the heaviness, so where it now works in reverse is guys who are really top heavy or kind of big and, we'll say do a lot of weights or kind of active kind of muscle building. This now works actually as counterpoint, so that additional weight up top actually starts to add more here to make things heavier and maybe a bit more awkward. So what you need to feel and understand is that sometimes things are beneficial, sometimes maybe they're not. Sometimes things work for you, sometimes they don't. There's no such thing as a right or a wrong way. There's only a way that works to help you function better in the things that serve you best or the things that you like to do. Take a full breath in, a long breath out. Bring your feet together, float your right foot high towards the sky. Crescent lunge, step your right foot to the top of the mat between your hands, float your hands up towards the sky. Come off the hands, beautiful. Send your hands towards the ceiling. Good. So your back left heel is lifted this time. Bring this up for me. Beautiful. Take a full breath in. And then bring your hands to your chest as you exhale. Bring your hands to your chest. Good. Draw the shoulders down your back. Lean forward. Lengthen out your spine out from the hips. Engage that front right knee and thigh. And then take a twist. Revolving crescent lunge. Left elbow on the outside of the right knee. Now, if that's a bit too much and you can't access that space, simply the best thing to do is put your left hand onto the floor. Take your right hand up towards the sky. The block is there as a nice tool. Blocks are always helpful. You can use a block or any other prop. You're just finding that nice twist. So draw the belly in, draw that right shoulder back and up. Take a full breath in here, and then a warrior two as you gently release. Take extended side angle. So right elbow to right knee, left hand sweeps down, long and forward. Good, again, you need to find space where space fits in your body. For a lot of us, we need to find a bit more space, so draw the shoulder blades down. Feel the ribs open up. Good, breathe. Try not to carry so much weight on your elbow. So from here, take your right elbow off your right knee, interlace your thumbs together, point both hands towards the front wall, so a full arrowhead. Feel that extension. So what that actually has to do is you have to activate now through the core space. You feel the whole left side of your body charge up. You feel the bottom right rib cage draw forward. Take a full breath in here, and then release to the floor, high to low plank. Inhale, upward facing dog. Open yourself back up. Send it back, downward facing dog. Feet together, please. Right foot high towards the sky. Inhale. Bring your knee to your nose as you exhale. Find a release. Inhale, right foot high towards the sky. Crescent lunge one more time at the top of the mat. We're still on the same side. Good. Float the hands high towards the sky. Take a full breath in here. Stay where you are on your exhale. Now take one more full inhale. Feel the heart space lift. And as you exhale, bend your back left knee so it just barely grazes the top edge of the mat and hover there for a moment. Find integrity in the spine, integrity in the breath, and integrity in your body. And what that simply means, integrity in the body, if it's too much, drop your knee down. On your next inhale, straighten that back left leg to a full crescent lunge. Exhale, lower it down, graze the top of the mat or put it onto the floor. Hands still high. Good. Inhale, back to standing through that crescent lunge. Exhale, lower it down. Inhale, back. Now don't clunk it down. Place it down. Exhale, lower. Just two more. Feel the engagement of the body. Inhale, back to crescent lunge. Exhale, lower and hover, last one. Inhale, back up to crescent lunge. Release your hands to the floor, step back high to low plank. Good, you need to figure out where it's right in you. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, take it back, downward facing dog. Yoga is one of the best, if not the best, complementary, actionable things that you can do to any other discipline, physical discipline, sport, or activity. It helps to open things up, support things, balance things, stretch things. Figure out what your functional movements are, where you need a bit more space, or where you need a bit more love, or where you need a bit more release. Use the practice to find that. Feet together, please. Left foot high towards the sky. Take a full breath in. Crescent lunge, top of the mat. Float the hands towards the sky. Breathe in. Bring your hands to heart center. Lean forward, lengthen out. Inhale. Revolving crescent lunge, right elbow, left knee. Now what you're going to feel, same thing. Block it up if you need to block. Twist it up if that feels right. Draw that left shoulder up, back, and open, but don't collapse your shoulder around your ears. Good. Breathe more. Take a full breath in. Warrior two as you exhale, release. Good. Well done. Enjoy. Don't shrug your shoulders. Draw your shoulders down the back, please. Extended side angle. Left elbow, left knee. Right hand sweeps down and forward. So naturally, the movement that most people kind of access this, and John's just done it, you're going to find your right hand goes up and over. But actually today, what we're going to do is you're going to take your right arm down to the floor. It helps to release the shoulder, just your right hand. Keep your elbow on your knee. And this right hand's going to sweep down and then forward. Take it all the way up and over. And what that does is automatically opens up this shoulder space. Good. Take a full breath in. As you exhale, interlace the thumbs, full arrowhead, extend it out. Now the core starts to shift and engage. Good. Now again, now if you're like Albert, you're quite long. So what that means for him is actually there's a longer space through the spine. There's more space that needs to be filled up to straighten up the spine. So what you want to feel is the bottom left ribs launching forward. So for someone like Albert, he's not going to go as close to the ground. For his spine, it's going to point up a bit more of a diagonal. Take a full breath in here, gents. Release to the floor, high to low plank. Well done. Move through. Inhale, upward facing dog. Send it back, downward facing dog. Full breath in. Long breath out. Left foot back up to the sky. Big inhale. Crescent lunge, top of the mat. Inhale, float the hands high towards the sky. Stay here for a moment. Set it up. Draw the shoulders down the back. Take a full breath in. As you exhale, bend that back right knee so it grazes the top of the mat. So just like Adam here, a really good example of where it means to just find that low lunge to the back knee. Good. Inhale, back up to straight crescent lunge. Back leg is long and strong. Exhale, lower it down. With integrity, slow it down. Inhale, back to straight leg through the crescent lunge. Exhale, lower it down. Keep that engagement through that front left knee. Inhale, knee back up. Exhale, lower it down. Last one. Inhale, straighten that back left. And then release your hands to the floor, high to low plank. Sorry, that's your back right. Good, move through. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, take it back, downward facing dog. Whew. Good, fill yourself up. Take the big breath in. Inhale, open your mouth. A physical release of an exhale actually really helps to lighten the body, and in many ways helps to cool the body. You know, in yoga, we kind of have this we say the yoga air condition. So if you can, curl your tongue up, just kind of as you were going to whistle, and breathe in. And you kind of feel that nice, really cool air across the body, and that really helps a lot of times when you kind of feel yourself kind of heating up a lot. And naturally, guys heat up a lot more than girls, so actually finding a place to cool down is really nice. Remember, you can always take child's pose as much as you need. Good, so we've been on our hands quite a lot, so we are going to move on. Take a full breath in, long breath out, bend your knees, look forward, jump, step, or float, top of the mat. Inhale halfway, and then bow forward as you exhale and rise to standing. Inhale, reach your hands high towards the ceiling. Bring your hands back to your chest. Reassess where you're at. Move the breath through the space. And when all else falls away, how does it feel? When you move, you breathe, and you just let everything just fall off. Float your hands back up to the sky when you're ready. Take a full breath in. And then take an eagle pose. So you're going to sweep your right leg, or your right arm under your left arm, and your right leg over your left leg. So eagle pose. Now, depending on your body type and your body size, for a lot of guys, getting all the way through a wrapped eagle is just not going to happen. So again, picking on Alex today, if you're like Alex, what it might mean is you can cross one arm, you can put your hands on your shoulders. Again, this is a lot wider than maybe this. So again, you just need to find what it means to open up the back body. So for a lot of guys, option one could just be out, right up to the side. Could be grabbing the shoulders. And again, crossing over through the thighs, sink the hips down and deep. Don't let the right hip roll over the left hip, so square it up. Draw the shoulder blades down. Breathe. Now, wherever you are, lift your elbows up a bit higher so it's the same height of your shoulder blades, and then see if you can draw your shoulder blades back. Then see if you can lift your chest in between the space of your biceps without moving your shoulders or your hands. So your shoulder blades draw down and back, your heart lifts through the space, your elbows are the same height, your hips are nice and low. Breathe. Take a full breath in, gently release back up to standing, send your hands back up high towards the sky, and then bring them back to your center space. Well done. Good, send your hands back up towards the sky. Big breath in, other side, eagle pose. Good. And again, sometimes it's just not going to work out. Sometimes it's going to feel a bit different. So you're going to modify, make it authentic, make it real, make it beneficial. Don't wrap something up just because you feel like it should be there. Wrap something up where you can feel something. Good, and if your leg's a bit wobbly, you can always leave your left toe down just for a bit of balance. Sink your hips a bit deeper. Good, Alex, drop your shoulders down. Stay with it, sink your hips a bit deeper. Come on, get down. Good. Full breath in. Lift your elbows up a bit more. Full inhale. Long exhale. Gently release back up to standing. Inhale, sweep your hands back up high towards the sky. And then bring your hands to heart center. Good. It might feel nice just to make any movements through the torso. It might feel nice to wiggle an arm out. Just release yourself because it can be strong through the upper torso. And then bring your hands back to heart center, back to your chest space when you're ready. Now we're going to start to work with a bit of balancing. Now again, as always, wobbly bodies can also happen a lot of times when you're newer to a practice, and that's okay. So bringing your left hand to your hip, draw your right knee to your chest. Grab a hold of your knee from the top, or from the front, from the outside, and make sure your hips are square. So don't let your right hip go up too high. Keep the right toes flexed. Good, and see if you can almost make a little tabletop with your right thigh, so not too high, so keep it nice and flat, just like Dave here. Keep that right toe flexed. Keep the left foot grounded into the floor. Take a full inhale in. Take this right knee out towards the right wall. And if that feels balanced for you, you can send your left hand to the left wall and your eyes to the left wall. So what you feel is this openness through the body. Good. Take a full breath in. Bring your knee back to center. Bring your left hand to your hip. Stay lifted. Keep the core engaged. Keep the breath moving. From here, taking a full breath in. As you exhale, send the right foot behind for a warrior 3. Send your hands towards the front wall. Draw your shoulders down the back. Focus on the standing leg. Focus on what's grounding down. Give yourself that stability. Use the power of your leg to keep yourself light. Breathe. Take a full inhale here. Place your hands onto the floor beneath you. And take a nice standing splits or a forward bend through one leg. Now again, this access might not be there for you, and that's completely cool. You've got lots of blocks and props around you that can work. You can put your hands onto a block if that feels good for you. You can take a nice soft bend in the knee, but you want to feel the intentional move of your nose to your knee or your chest to your thigh. And then you want to feel the heel lifting up towards the sky without opening the right hip. Breathe. Take a full inhale in. And as you ground through the left foot, stand back up, bring your right knee to your chest without touching it down. Bring your right knee back up to your chest. Grab the knee, grab the left hip with your left hand. Stand it back up. Shit, that left side is singing. Good tree pose. Bring your right foot into the cradle of your left thigh. Bring your hands anywhere that feels stable. It could be at your chest, it could be down by your sides. You can stay hold to your foot. Now the modifications, if it is a bit wobbly, it might be a bit too high. What you want to make sure you're not doing is the only thing, you make sure your foot is not pressing onto your knee joint. So for Alex, you need to go a bit higher or a bit lower. Good, so below the knee. Good. We don't put any lateral pressure on the knee, just so it doesn't push and compound the joint. Breathe. Find stillness. Find focus. Remember what we talked about, intentional, conscious, specific movements that functionally make your body feel more and feel better. Take a full breath in. Gently put your right foot back down to the floor. Step up to the top of the mat. Wiggle out anything that needs a release. Whew. Good stuff, boys. Bring your hands to your chest. Close your eyes. You know, the point of any yoga practice has a few things attached to it that need to work together. You have the strong stuff and the soft stuff, the breath and the body. Putting these things together is how the flow works, how the practice works. Without softness, there's no strength. Without the breath with the body, it's not yoga. Take a full breath in. Long breath out. Good. Release your right hand to your right hip. Draw your left knee to your chest. Find your stillness. Find your grounding. Breathe more. Elongate the breath. Make sure your leg is only parallel. Your thighs parallel to the floor. Keep the bottom left toes flexed, please. Take a full inhale in. And then open it up. Bring your left knee out to the left wall. If that feels good and open, you can take your right hand to the right wall. You might even take your eyes out to the right side. Good. Breathe. Yoga doesn't need to be a fancy thing. It's not a fancy thing. Yoga is about functional awareness, mobility, and access to places that make you feel better. You take a full breath in. Bring your knee back to center. Bring your right hand back to your right hip. Keep in the knee cradle. Take a full inhale in. Warrior 3. Send that left foot behind you. Bring your hands either to your chest or in front of you. Good. Now, a lot of times what happens, maybe on the tighter side, your left hip flares up, so drop that left hip down. Keep the back toes flexed. Good. Take a full inhale in. Place your hands onto the floor. Send your left heel high towards the sky. Standing splits, please. And again, a really good way to access it is bend your right knee. Good. Blocks as props are really helpful. Good. Maybe one block if you need 2 blocks. 3 blocks, 10 blocks, doesn't matter. It's not about hitting the floor or having some sort of very large, fancy openness. It's about accessing a place in your body that actually works in your favor. Good, take a full breath in and a long exhale. Float that knee back up to your chest. Inhale, come back up to standing. Press down through that right foot. Rise to the spine. Rise the knee. Rise the thigh. Grab a hold. Inhale. Hold it here for a moment. Tree pose. Access the release. And put your foot above or below the knee. If it's wobbly, that's absolutely okay. Need to breathe more. Full inhales and exhales. Take one more full breath in. Long breath out. Release your foot down. Reset. Wiggle it out. Whew. Well done, everyone. Well done. Well done. Got a lot going on today. A lot to work through the power hour. So step back up to the top of your mat when you're ready. Hands at your chest space. Close the eyes. Reset. And as always, how you practice is up to you. How you choose to define the power in your practice is personal. Sometimes we need strong stuff to help us find a new way forward. Sometimes, actually, more importantly, we need softer stuff, more compassionate stuff to balance us out. You need to figure out where the power is in your practice today. You need to figure out how the body works in a way that functionally makes you better, more comfortable, more accessible. So take a deep inhale in and a long exhale out. Opening the eyes up, inhale, float the hands high towards the sky, and then bow forward as you exhale, come all the way down to the earth. Halfway lift, inhale, lengthen. Hands flat, walk or step yourself back high to low plank. Good, inhale, upward facing dog. Send it back, downward facing dog. Full breath in, long exhale. Inhales and exhales to reset. Good. Float back up to a high plank position. Inhale to the top of the mat. Bring your feet together at the back of your mat. Bring your right hand to the center of your mat. Take your left hand towards the sky, side plank. So again, as you isolate here into the side plank, what you don't want to do is you don't want your hips to drop down. So your options are you can always drop a knee down, or you can keep the integrity here of this spine, so grounding down through the outside edge of that bottom right foot. Keep the toes flexed. Good. Keep the hips lifting. Good. Press down to lift up. Keep the shoulder blades drawing together. Take a full inhale in. High plank position as you release to the top of the mat. Feet together if they're not there. Left hand to the center. Side plank on the other side. Again, nothing fancy. All it is access. So again, if you're like Alex here and your hips are dropping, lift your hips up. Keep the toes flexed. Press down through the hand. Keep the shoulder over the wrist joint. Keep this stable. Keep the hips up. Keep the core in. Take a full inhale in. Release high to low plank. Move through. Float it out. Good stuff, guys. Good. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, shift it back, downward facing dog. Well done. Full inhale in. Long exhale out. We've done quite a lot today, and we've moved quite a lot of the body, a lot of the top half. So in this first power hour, we really work and understand what it means to work through the top half of the body through lots of strong highs and lows, all that type of stuff is really putting you in a place to pay attention of where the strength is, where the softness is needed, where the access needs to be better understood. Bring the feet together. Float your right foot high towards the sky. Take a full breath in. And then bend your knee and roll the right hip open. So bend the knee, roll the right hip open. Bend this back right knee. Good. You're still in a kind of a downward facing dog action. So don't blow the shoulders out. So your shoulders are still parallel to the floor. Draw this shoulder down. Good. Shoulder down. Good. Draw the belly in. Lift your knee a bit higher towards the sky. From here, take a full breath in. And we're going to move to a half pigeon. Now, for guys, half pigeon here accesses way differently for every person. So half pigeon, bring your right knee to the back of your right wrist. I'm actually just going to work with John here today. So again, we'll work with John. So you're going to move your right knee a bit further out. So all the way out to the right side of the mat. Now again, a lot of times for guys, good, come back to where you were. Beautiful. It doesn't matter if this shin comes parallel. All that matters is this left foot, toes are flexed. Toes flex this way. Good. That protects the knee joint. And naturally what happens, and if you're already in, you can come all the way down to a half pigeon if that's in for you. Otherwise, stay lifted. So for John, what you'll see here, he's got a bit of space between the hip. And this support with a block will actually give him a lot more space to actually better appreciate the pose. Oops, so this knee's down, so come on up for me. Okay, let's flatten that out for you. Good. Now again, when you take gravity out of the way, actually the body can move in a more aligned and authentic way. And again, elbows is a nice place to stay. Forehead down to your hands. Again, doesn't matter the depth. All that matters is that you put yourself in a place you can breathe and stay. Because for guys, hip flexibility, hip flexors massively need a bit of attention. You know, if you run a lot, played a lot of sports, this stuff's going to get really tight. If you run a lot, if you play a lot of sports, this part of the body, through this right hip, is going to get really tight. You're going to feel it, the warmth through it, and you're going to feel, just acknowledge the heat that works through the body. Try not to fidget, try not to move away from it, but obviously don't try to fight it. We say in the practice, just surrender or acknowledge it, but don't judge it. And a lot of times, this is one of the hardest places to be, to sit there and do nothing, to know that something's happening, but nothing's happening. And that's how the breath helps the body when you're still. And again, if you have that height through the hip, a block underneath is going to help. Don't be a hero. Just be yourself. Breathe. We're not going anywhere. We're just staying. Postures like this, you need a few moments to relieve the physicality of the posture, release through the body. And it's only through length and breath that you'll find the release. There's no other way to get it. It's not about force. It's not about repetition. It's purely about time, space, breath, and release. How can you breathe more? How can you do less? And how can you just let things melt away so the hip starts to feel it? And a lot of times as men, we think we need to fill space, or we need to do things. We need to action things. You need to achieve things. But there's a reality in the practice of yoga when you actually take time to do nothing, and you take time to let things open, and you let time give you a bit more vulnerability in your own physical space, things actually start to shift. You know, you can access a bit more space. You can find a bit more mobility. But at the end of the day, maybe, just maybe, it teaches us the benefits of backing off, or being simple, or just shutting up and sit still for a moment. Sometimes you need to tune into the body. You need to listen more rather than talk more. Take a full breath in, long breath out. Gently find your way out. Bring your hands underneath your chest. Press yourself up off the floor. Tuck your back left toe. Shift back to a downward facing dog. Wiggle out that back right leg for release. Whew. It's a big one. Big, big, big one. When you're ready, bring your feet together. Left foot towards the sky, please. Inhale. Bend the knee and roll it open. Then when you're ready, you can set it up for the other side. Half pigeon on the left side. And as always, block it up. You can use 1 block, 2 blocks, 10 blocks. Figure it out in a way that allows you to have that foundation beneath you. And then find your way down to a half pigeon on the left side. Good. Now, if you're like John here and Alex, you're rolling off a bit too far to the left, so bring this knee all the way out. So a lot of times the left knee needs to come out a bit further on the side of the mat. You're going to roll the hips a bit higher, come a bit higher. Sometimes height with the proper alignment is a lot better than lower and rolling off. Good. And actually, if this is a bit much, Alex, just come off the block and sit down on your butt. So a lot of times what you'll see with Alex is someone, a big guy like this, you sit on your butt and that axis is not quite there. So the same posture, a different modification, just take your left foot and you cross it on top of your right knee. Now again, this might be a hell of a lot. Big, huh? Good. So this is good. If this works and you do want a bit further, take your left hand, slide it through the middle. Good. And then you can just slide your right heel towards you. And again, it might not move, but the intention is to help open up the left hip. There it is. Good. Find the point where the axis is right for you and you can stay. Keep these toes flexed. Move this just a bit further down. So just make sure the authenticity of the ankle is on the outside of the knee. Good. Breathe. Find your breath. Settle it down. Breathe more. Think less. Tune in. Feel it. Recognize where it feels good for you. Take one more full breath in. Long breath out. Then find your release back to a downward facing dog. Hands under your chest, tuck your back toe, send yourself back. Or if you're in a seated position, just release the legs and spin your legs behind you, downward facing dog. Good stuff. You can send that leg back up to the sky if you need a wiggle release. Again, make sure you active release so you can kind of notice and feel again. Take a full breath in here. And a long exhale. Then bend your knees, jump through onto your butt, and lie all the way down onto your back body. Good. The legs lengthen out in front of you, lying all the way down onto your spine. Rolling back down through the back body. Getting nice and flat. And taking a moment just to feel through the back body. What does it feel like now when you put yourself down onto the floor? A lot of times as guys, we're expected to do things, to act certain ways. And that's all well and good, but at the end of the day, you need to decide what works for you. Where the practice suits you, how it suits your body, how it complements the rest of your life, everything else you do. So now as we start to find our way into the closing part of the practice, we're going to work with the last inversion. So you've got a few options. So for a lot of us, and we'll just work with March here, you're going to send your heels up towards the sky for just a nice 90-degree hips on a block. So what Mark's going to do is he's going to lift his hips up, set yourself in, just for Viparita. Good, and for everyone else, start to work into either a shoulder stand or you can work into a headstand. Very simply, this is a nice simple way to get your hips up off the ground. Or you can work into a shoulder stand or to a headstand. With the last bits of the practice, just get yourself upside down, just to shift the perspective and move the body, move the blood flow around in a different way. And again, lots of options. And again, pick one that feels good. Pick one you want to play with today. Pick one where you want to be upside down. All of it works. All of it feels right. And then just lock back into your breath. Lock back into your space. And if you are working with a headstand, make sure your elbows are only as wide as your shoulder blades. Good, John. Making sure you don't collapse out so the elbows are in. Lovely. Good. And again, don't judge your own practice. Sometimes things don't work. So again, Alex is a big boy, so his twists aren't there, but he's strong. So here, maybe the upside down headstand works really well for him. You figure out what works for you, practice that way, enjoy it, focus on that, but don't be attached to it if it doesn't get there. Good. For those of you in a headstand, gently release yourself down to a child's pose. For those of you on your back body, release the block and roll yourself down through the spine. If you're in a full shoulder stand, just gently place the hands behind you and roll yourself back down to the floor. Take a few moments to reassess. And if you're on your back body, find your way back into a child's pose to meet the rest of us. As we start to find the close, we're going to have one last heart opening. So once you're in that child's pose, send the hands in front of you. And then walk your fingertips to the top edge of the mat. Take your hips off your heels. Move your hips so they're directly over your knees. And then soften your chest down towards the floor. You're going to feel the whole chest torso space. Make sure the toes are flat to the floor still. And you can pop your chin underneath. Keep the shoulders drawing up towards the hips. Again, it might not be pretty, but it will feel beneficial. And a lot of times that awareness is not quite there, so for someone like John, you want to bring your hips a bit forward so they're over the knees. Then you might be really high. Now take your chest down. From there, good. Hands might have to go a bit further forward as always. Good. And again, it might not go anywhere. If your chest is floating, put a block underneath your chest. Good, so just like Alex here, that block underneath. Straight away, feels better. Because now the posture and gravity can do what it needs to be done. Take one more full breath in here. Long breath out. Exit through child's pose. Send the hips back. Take a full breath in. Long breath out. Tuck your toes under. Downward facing dog. Come on back up. As you find your way back up to that downward facing dog, take a full breath in and a long breath out. Bend your knees. Jump through one more time. Lie down onto your back. Lying all the way down and flat. We're almost there, and you guys have done such a good practice today throughout the whole body, using the power hour to really explore where you're at. So now, as we start to wind it down, bend your knees up, place your feet flat to the floor. You can just windscreen wipe your knees left to right to find a nice lower spine release. Good, move slowly so you can feel it. And when you're ready, come back to center. Slide the heels out. Sitting nice and flat. You can take any last movements that you might want or need to get yourself nice, flat, and firm down to the earth. You know, as always, this yoga practice thing, this thing here that we do, the physical part of it is the byproduct, the benefit of the breath, of how you look at it and how you feel about it and how you find more access and awareness, that functional movement, functional mobility, functional access that complements everything we do in life. So as we close now in Shavasana, letting everything go, letting the breath land, taking the stillness into your space, getting yourself back to where we started with simplicity. We'll let ourselves find ease and find balance, and we find power. And that's how we wrap up Power Hour 1. Thank you so much for practicing tonight, guys. And that's how we wrap up Power Hour 1. Thanks so much for practicing. I'm Michael James Wong. We'll see you again next time.